I'm Tom Hibbs. I have the Rayzor Chair in philosophy at Baylor University. I spent 16 years there as Dean of the Honors College. I'm now Dean Emeritus. I teach in philosophy. I work mainly in medieval philosophy and contemporary ethics. I work on the thought of Thomas Aquinas and am especially interested in Aquinas, a Catholic theologian and philosopher, especially interested in his relationship to and dependence on the Islamic tradition. His early works in particular, there's now a great deal of evidence that he's relying heavily on Islamic thinkers, especially for his interpretation of Aristotle. It's a great grace to be at a school like Zaytuna, to visit and to be in the midst of a community that's serious about those great conversations from our shared past. I first came to know about Zaytuna maybe a decade ago when I was not only Dean of the Honors College at Baylor, but also running Baylor's programs in Washington, D.C. We were trying to develop a series of high-profile events in D.C. Some of them opportunities for our faculty to talk about their research, which might have an impact on policy discussions on Capitol Hill. But we were also interested as a Christian university at Baylor in engaging in high-level conversations about deeply important cultural matters. And the first major event that we held was a Muslim-Jewish-Christian trialogue on secularism and its impact upon different faith traditions. Sheikh Hamza Yusuf was one of the participants in that program. So I got to know him through that event, and also because of some of the work that I was doing where he was a leading speaker at the Religious Freedom Institute in Washington, D.C. I got to know Sheikh Hamza Yusuf through those programs, and then was delighted to host him at Baylor a couple of times. And then a year and a half ago, I made my first visit to Zaytuna. So it's wonderful to be here again, to get to know folks better, and just have great admiration and gratitude for the mission of this school. We're working on a possible shared course between Zaytuna students and Baylor students. It's still being developed. The idea would be for Zaytuna students to come to Baylor either in January or May, and then vice versa, Baylor students to come here. And we would be reading shared texts out of our shared tradition, especially that pre-modern tradition of Islam and Christianity, looking at some of the shared sources in ancient philosophy, and then seeing how those sources shape the conversations in our two traditions. I know that the folks in our great text program at Baylor, who are the chief liaisons at Baylor for this potential program, are very excited about it. And I think it would be a really wonderful thing for our students and for Baylor to be involved in this. We have a number of other ongoing conversations about possible shared projects. There are folks who run programs for environmental ethics and ecology at Baylor, folks who are doing great national work on trying to solve problems of hunger, who are deeply interested in how Zaytuna faculty and students and the wider community approach those questions. How do you, from your particular tradition, how do you think about issues of ecology? How do you think about issues of poverty and hunger? What do we think are the best possible responses from within our tradition to these great challenges of our time? So there are a great many opportunities, I think, for collaboration over the next 5 to 10 years, and I'm hopeful that that will deepen and broaden the relationship. Very few people at Baylor have, as of yet, had an opportunity to know about and experience what Zaytuna is committed to and the folks who are involved in its community. And I'm hopeful for Baylor that more people at Baylor will have the opportunity to really experience the wonder that is Zaytuna. I think Zaytuna is an institution that I'm happy to support and be involved in as much as I'm capable of being involved in it. In mainstream America in particular, we suffer from a kind of deficit of language and imagination. We don't have a rich vocabulary in our culture for talking about good and evil, for talking about truth or about beauty. We increasingly don't know what to say in the face of life's most momentous events, moments of great joy, but also moments of great sorrow and loss. We don't know how to respond or what to say in the face of death. And this is a kind of chilling inarticulacy about life's most important matters. If we don't know how to remember, we don't know how to grieve, if we don't know how to celebrate, if we don't know how to express gratitude, if we don't know how to weep and laugh at the same events, which are cause for both, we've lost capacities that are distinctively human. We also don't have deep stories to enrich our moral imagination. Students today really suffer from inarticulacy and an impoverished moral imagination. That's important for whatever they're going to do in life, but it's important for their souls, and it's important for our communities, both our religious community and our wider civic community. Zaytuna is doing a remarkable job from within its own tradition of equipping young people with a rich vocabulary and a formation of the moral imagination. Without those, you can't lead a hopeful life without a vocabulary to describe what you're experiencing. You are increasingly left with a shrunken vision of your own life and that of others. And it's an increasingly hopeless life. And I think we can see the practical cost of hopelessness all around us today. Zaytuna is a community that is, by increasing the vocabulary and deepening and forming the moral imagination, is actually a source of hope both within and outside its own community.